It's tough to describe it, but creepy places have a bit of an allure to them, and there are tons of such places all over the world that are worth visiting, starting with one that's straight up weird, Island of the Dolls, Mexico City, Mexico. What's worse than a scary doll? Well, how about an entire island that's filled with such creepy little things? Yeah, if you're scared of films like Child's Play and Megan, then this place will be nothing short of your worst nightmare.
There are no concrete buildings, no electricity, or running water, just wooden structures and dolls. Oh, so many dolls.
Known as Isla de las Muñecas, or the Island of Dolls, this is a place in Mexico City that's tucked away in the Xochimilco canals. And I'm glad that it's somewhat hidden because you wouldn't want anyone stumbling here by mistake because of how horrifying it is. The entire island is filled with creepy dolls that almost look as if they're alive. The place has managed to become quite a famous tourist attraction because of this weird little detail. But honestly, you'd need a special level of courage to even want to step foot here. What adds to this place's creepy factor is that it's drowning in local legends and myths. It's said that the only occupant of the island found a drowned girl in the canals with some dolls surrounding her body. Because of this, the occupants started hanging these dolls around the island for some reason. Anyone who enters the island will find hundreds of these tied to trees. No one really knows if this is done as a way of honoring the dead girl or to ward off evil spirits. But either way, it's incredibly creepy and strange. But it's not as creepy as this next place on this list, Aokigahara, Yamanashi Prefecture, Japan. This place is also known as the Forest. Some also refer to it as the Sea of Trees. If you're a fan of Logan Paul, you may have heard of this place, since the popular internet personality made a vlog of him visiting it. The place itself isn't that creepy, it's just a place that's filled with very large and dense woods. But what adds to the creepiness factor is that it has become an unofficial site where people go to commit. Over the years, many people have gone into these woods and taken their own lives, and it's said that around 50 to 100 people still continue to use this forest as their final resting place each year. This controversy managed to spark an international debate among people.
It's been rising up. They've been finding more bodies every year being reported here, over 105.
The forest was featured in a 2016 film because of this, and a popular novel was also set in the forest. This has also added to the notoriety of this place, with more and more people wanting to visit it to take their own lives there. It goes to show how places like Aokigahara, which may not be scary on their own, can become creepy because of the events that occur there. The same situation occurred with this next item on the list, Chernobyl, Ukraine.
The Chernobyl nuclear power plant still holds an uneasy fascination for many.
This was the site of one of the most horrific events in human history. The meltdown of the Chernobyl power plant in Kiev not only led to a devastating loss of life, but it also meant that the nearby city of Pripyat had to be abandoned. Much of the city is still abandoned, essentially making it a ghost town. Parts of the Chernobyl site can be visited by people as long as they don't overstay their welcome. Anyone visiting there can see how things have mostly been preserved over time. You still get the feeling of how everyone who once lived there had to drop everything and move when they found out just what had happened. It's an incredibly creepy place because of how it has decayed over the years. Anyone who enters Pripyat will find entire apartment blocks, hospitals, schools, and even amusement parks that look like they've degraded over the years, with not a soul anywhere near them.
Other abandoned places aside from, the obvious radioactivity, so many things were left behind.
Before and after shots of the places really serve as haunting reminders of just how big of a tragedy this was. It's hard to find a place that's creepier than a crypt, especially one that has thousands of ancient mummies. Capuchin Catacombs, Palermo, Sicily, Italy. These catacombs in Italy are the burial sites of many dead people. It's said that it serves as the cemetery of over 8,000 mummies that are lined up in the walls. It no longer serves as a crypt though, and now is more of a tourist attraction for people who really are out to see some spooky and creepy stuff.
It's a catacomb dating back to the 16th century and regionally started to be a cemetery for the Capuchin friars.
The Capuchin catacombs attract tourists from all over the world, perhaps because of their history and the well-preserved nature of the bodies there. All I know is that there's a place that quite literally has dead people in the walls. Stepping foot in there would be the last thing that I'd want to do. The last body to be interred into the site was back in 1920, so it's been well over 100 years since it last served its function as a catacomb. Still, the creepy nature of this place makes it one of the most gruesome locations in the entire world. That said, sometimes nature itself can be a really scary thing. The North Yungas Road, Bolivia. For anyone with a fear of heights, this will be the creepiest and scariest place on this list. This is because this is a road that overlooks a 2,000-foot abyss. Leading from La Paz to Coroico in the Yungas region of Bolivia, this road is also given the name of the Death Road, and for good reason. The two-way road travels through the middle of solid rock and a terrifying abyss. It's a place that really requires you to be strong of heart to make your way through. Places like this tend to create tons of legends and myths, and people often speculated across history that the place might be haunted by the souls of people who fell into the abyss while making their way across this 12-foot wide path. That said, the place has been reported to have a wildlife haven nowadays because of how few people travel across it, so it seems that despite being called the Death Road,
for whoever suffers from fear of heights, this tour will become a nightmare, even without an accident.
it may be showing signs of life after all, just not any at the bottom of the abyss. Though the same can't be said for this next location, village of Nagoro, Nagoro, Japan.
Tucked into a valley on the island of Shikoku, the village has developed a bit of a personality.
What's scarier than an island that's filled with tiny small dolls? How about a village with life-size dolls present everywhere? That's exactly what this village in Japan is like. Due to the dwindling population of this place, artist Ayano Tsukimi decided it'd be such a great idea to move back to her hometown and cover it with life-size dolls of the citizens that once lived there. The end result is that her hometown is now entered into a list of the world's creepiest places. She thought that doing so would give the town some much-needed signs of life, but I'm sure most people would be fine with fewer people, just no scary life-size dolls.
She found herself populating the village with these kakashi dolls.
Atlas Obscura stated that there are over 350 toy citizens that can be found across various places of the village. Can you imagine accidentally stumbling your way across this place at night, only to find hundreds of dolls that are staring at you and no actual people? It sounds like the stuff out of nightmares, and honestly, I'm surprised that a horror movie hasn't been made using this concept yet. Anyway, which of these creepy places from around the world did you find to be the scariest? See you in the next one.
We didn't know what to expect from our haunted destination.